All right, guys. Excuse me. It's Health Nibble number 43. Had some patients talk about, discussing the health nibbles at night at supper, but this one's probably going to be a little late. Had a busy day today and couldn't quite get to it. So, anyway, I'm going to talk about sleep, proper sleep, and then the detriment if you don't get that proper sleep. So, most experts agree you need about 6 to 8 hours of sleep. Most Americans are sleep deprived, or a lot of Americans are sleep deprived, and some of the health deficits that can go along with that is increased risk of diabetes. And it's interesting that most people, when you're a little sleep deprived, like you've stayed up late, you actually have this weird sense of chronic hunger. I know I do, and the studies show that that actually does happen. And so adults and kids that don't get enough sleep tend to eat more and be overweight. So more sleep, less eating. There's a hormone called ghrelin that actually makes you hungry, and that increases when you don't get enough sleep. The other thing that happens is you don't get it, your melatonin doesn't work. So that doesn't mean take melatonin, because then that screws up the pineal gland and it won't produce it naturally. There are other ways to get that done, so we actually don't recommend that, especially with kids. It's a downstream process. So like when you supplement it downstream, you end up getting an inhibitory effect. So it stops the body from producing it itself. Some of the other things that and it leads to all chronic diseases. But so what are some of the solutions for that? Well, for one, exercise just helps you get tired at night and helps you sleep. So exercise, the timing doesn't really matter. Sometimes I recommend people do it in the morning so that, they're tired at night. I know that works for me. If I exercise early in the morning, I'm super tired at night. The other tips are have your room completely dark. So, if you have an alarm clock, cover it up with something so that you can't see the numbers. I mean, a lot of people have phones by their bed, which, having that electromagnetic radiation by your head all night is not a good idea. We use our phones for alarm clocks, but we put them on the other side of the room. What's another tip? I have them written down here. Exercise committing to 6 to 8 hours of sleep. So just making sure that, even if you have the urge to stay up, you're like, hey, I need my 6 to 8 hours of sleep. I'm going to go to bed. If you take naps, not napping longer than 20 minutes, studies show that when you nap longer than that, that it actually has an inhibitory effect on your sleep at night. And then as we had, I forget which health nibble it was before, where we looked at blue blockers. In nature, you wouldn't have, you would probably go to bed when the sun went down. So you wouldn't have blue light. Blue light comes from, electronic screens. So, wearing blue blockers at night if you have to work, like an hour or two before you go to bed or watch TV or whatever is a good idea. And then the other one is keeping your room cool. So the mark is 70 degrees, 70 degrees or below. You'll sleep a lot better if the room's cool. So, sleep's important in disease processes. If you can't sleep, if you do all those things and you can't sleep, there are other problems. And, that's what we do at Midwest Functional Health, is help people figure those things out. But there are a lot of things you can do, and it's just making a decision. It's free, and it doesn't cost money, and it can make a drastic impact on your health. So that's your health nibble. Get good sleep.